We are finally here, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Ignore that. I can't be bothered to do free practice, so I just used Cheat Engine and give me resource points. You can see here, looking at the R&D tree, Haas is caught up to Alpine now. McLaren are actually now better than Mercedes and Aston Martin. We'll see about that. And two things to note from this qualifying session. One, I set the difficulty too low. I normally use about 98. Here I put 94 because I had PTSD from Azerbaijan last season. Go watch that video. It was joined with the Canadian Grand Prix because me and Max crashed at lap number 1. So yeah, I decided to almost scrap the qualifying footage as a whole, but then I decided just to show Q2 for the sake of having onboard footage of this car. Now anyways, on the first run of Q2, the only run of Q2, we set a green, but really they're purple. Everyone else was way too slow. And I think Lando Norris went quickest. As I saw, never mind, Lewis Hamilton goes quickest now. Going through the long ass straight, draining all the battery in the world. And DRS is going to be open right about now. And crossing the line anytime soon. I suck at commentary. It's a 142.1. Yeah, I think you can see the problem now. Lewis Hamilton's a 142.3 still. The gap's going to be even bigger in Q3. Carlos Sainz, surprise elimination, and Kevin Magnussen, surprise that he got into Q3, considering the Haas this season was dog water. Now on my first and only run of Q3, now going on to the castle section, remember not to do a Charles Leclerc as they brake way too late there, causing a hideous amount of understeer. Now getting a great launch from the exit of the castle. This is my favorite section of Baku. Not the castle itself, but the exit of castle. Yeah, I don't know why I like it so much. I always get a huge launch against the air on that, but probably against real people, I suck. Now Charles Leclerc sets provisional pole. You're not gonna get pole, buddy. As we're going through the real final corner, the one up ahead doesn't really count, does it? And right about now, Lando Norris sets provisional pole, stealing it away from Charles Leclerc. You can see I actually made contact with the wall a bit. That's alright. Lewis Hamilton, P6. No, that's not you, Lewis. Actually, looking at his recent qualifying form, he has been pretty poor. As we're going to cross the line, it's a 141.3. That's like 9/10 quicker than my Q2 lap. It's a clear-cut pole position. AI difficulty was too low. Lewis Hamilton sets a 41.8. Kevin Magnussen qualifies P10. That's to be expected. Sergio Perez, however, what? How are you 1.1 away from your teammate? Nah, that's actually quite realistic. Just a reminder that this is actually a sprint qualifying. So yeah, here's the starting grid. I'm not gonna do a Crofty impersonation. So obviously it's a Ferrari front row lockout. Lewis Hamilton starting right behind me, and then P3 and 4 it's Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. P5 and 6 Leclerc and George Russell. P7 and 8 Piastri and Perez. 9 and 10 Alonso and surprise P10 from Kevin Magnussen. Pierre Gasly P11, Tsunoda P12, Ocon 13, Sainz 14, Albon 15, Hulkenberg way down in P16 compared to his teammate P10, Ricardo Bottas 17-18, and then Joe and Sargent in the last row of the grid. So now it's time, just have a quick glance at Lewis Hamilton's beautiful Ferrari. I believe the yellow numbers elevate this car even more. And now it's time for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go for the sprint race. Just a reminder, I forgot to hit save full replay for the sprint, so there's going to be no replay cams for this as Lewis Hamilton gets us into turn 1. That's alright. I'm going to look for a massive opening into turn 2. I actually locked the rears a bit of contact to his rear end.
fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. Mate, well done. That's a great finish. You've really stepped up and achieved what we asked you to do today, so good job.
The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow where we'll be live with all the action. And until then, goodbye. And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. The Baku city circuit measures roughly 6 kilometers and it's made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to a catastrophic consequence for any one of our drivers. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and the engineer completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Tsunoda, Norris, Gasly, Magnussen, Ocon, Albon, Joe, Ricciardo, Sargent, Bottas, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Okay, so looking now on the strategy screen, you can see that I'm gonna go for the aggressive two-stopper. And here's my thinking going into this. if I can make the first turn on the soft work, like let's say we get a 7-second lead, then it would be very easy to catch them all back up again and win the race. So I set this up for my race, and I'm definitely going to be aggressive with the mediums if I'm even going to be close enough to Lewis Hamilton, unless he just pulls away now. So that was just my thinking into making that strategy. I may or may not regret it, but here we go, watching all the cars line up for the starting grid. So it's time for the start of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Clear look going into turn 1. It's 5 red lights, and away we go for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I get a much better start than Lewis Hamilton. I get ahead of him by turn 1. No, never mind, on the exit. I kind of force him back into Max Verstappen. You can see there, Perez. No, that's actually Verstappen trying to cover off Leclerc's line. Leclerc actually almost did what George Russell did to Max in real life. And here's Lewis Hamilton getting back at me on the straight at the exit of turn 2. But I'm going to get back at him round the outside. And now going into this next turn 4. Very, very tight corner. But I squeeze him into the wall. That's not dirty. You know, it was done in a clean manner. Verstappen's going to try the outside of Lewis Hamilton. Will he get ahead? He gets ahead mid-corner, but on the exit, Lewis Hamilton just had the much better racing line. And looking behind, not really much happening, as we're going to cut over to Lewis Hamilton's onboard right about now. He's still chasing my Ferrari. Now looking at that on the exit of Castle, that's why I said during qualifying why the exit of Castle is my favorite. Look at how much ground I gained right there. But we get him at the start. You can see in the leaderboard, Tsunoda, after starting P11, climbs up into P7. Very wow, okay. As covering up Lewis for now in lap number 1. He won't have DRS to play with on the straight, but it's lap 1. Everyone has a lot of battery. Looking through this quick left-right-hander, as he's only a 10th away from his teammate, who is me, and we're now alongside, and Lewis Hamilton successfully gets ahead of me, but I quickly dip to the rear of his car to get a slipstream. He gets the fastest lap. Well, obviously, I find the outside line, and it works. I'm going to cover off his line. You can see right there, going into turn 3 now. He tries another overtake. We make a bit of contact, but that was very clean and fair racing. And right now, Russell and Tsunoda were in a battle. Now it's Alonso and Tsunoda. Alonso on the soft compound tire didn't have a really good start, but he will get into P7 nonetheless. Pretty simple overtake on the Toro Rosso, or the Hugo Boss Toro Rosso of Yuki Tsunoda. As now going on into lap number 2, or later down in the lap, it's Lewis Hamilton's second attempt at overtaking his teammate. Again, me. No DRS just yet, but I'm really conservative of the battery on the straight because it's just going to drain it. And I won't have battery for the remainder of the lap. As you can see right there, he just gains so much ground on my Ferrari. He gets ahead. Again, I dip to slipstream. Now trying his outside. I run very wide, broke too late, and you can see I actually had a bit of track limits, so I feel like that would have been unfair as I make a switchback, and I feel like it would have been unfair if I got him in turn 1, but I made a successful switchback, stealing DRS from Hamilton as well. Verstappen finds a massive opening. He gets ahead of Hamilton for a split second, but he can't get fully ahead as Hamilton covers his line going into turn 4. And now again, looking back on my onboard, I lost the rear a bit there. The tires felt a bit, how do I say it? I just felt them going off already in lap 3. And here's Lewis Hamilton's onboard right about now. This time he has DRS, and you can see how much ground he's gaining. You can just see how much more straight line speed he has because of the DRS. going into a slipstream won't work this time as he gets ahead. And here's Sergio Perez getting ahead of George Russell and Carlos Sainz, who got ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda falling back many positions after having a pretty good start. Russell and Perez having a battle over here, and Fernando Alonso just creeping behind on the Red Bull. What can he do? Never mind, we cut to Oscar Piastri's on board. Looks like Perez with a defense. No, Alonso gets him back. And Alonso, will he get fully ahead of the Red Bull? No, Perez successfully keeps his position in P6. And Oscar Piastri just following closely behind with his teammate behind him, who I'm guessing had a penalty because he finished around P5 in that race, didn't he? In the sprint. And right now on the long straight, Alonso, pressure from behind from Piastri. He's nowhere close enough to receive a decent slipstream from Sergio Perez as Piastri gets him on the outside going into turn 1. Alonso putting up a defensive move right there. They made a bit of contact with the tires, but hey, he still gets ahead. Piastri have another chance into the DRS zone. This time, Alonso doesn't have DRS because he's way far behind of Sergio Perez. As Piastri finds the outside of Fernando Alonso. Norris following closely behind. Will he also get ahead of Alonso? Not quite. Yes, he actually will. He finds an opening down the inside, and Alonso actually keeps his position. Well done. Great defending from the Spanish driver right there. And yeah, going into lap number 5 now. I have a good chance on Hamilton again, but I have to worry about this angry Dutchie behind me, Max Verstappen. He gets ahead. Now cutting to my onboard view, as I actually have DRS, so it's not going to be really easy on Verstappen, as I'm able to be alongside him, finding an opening into turn 1. I was alongside him throughout the whole straight, so yeah, if he tried to cover my line, then it would have ended really, really ugly. As is he gonna try for another move? I don't think so. Same with Charles Leclerc. He's way too far behind to attempt something. And anyways, here's the start of Yuki Tsunoda. You can see it's mostly soft compound runners ahead of him, and he still got the much better start. And very interesting stuff from the Japanese driver here. And cutting ahead now to me and Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. I don't actually have DRS. Ooh, losing the rear there. That's not ideal. As we go into the long straight, Max is 7/10 behind, but without having the slipstream of Hamilton, it's going to be really hard. As he has DRS, he's using his battery as well. Look at that straight line speed compared to mine. I didn't have any slipstream. You can see my light flashing. I did not have any battery, but I had the power of Daniel Ricciardo 2017 as I make a massive dive on Max, hitting the wall a bit there, and dropping him slightly back. And looking behind now to the two McLarens of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. They're alongside, who will have DRS going into turn 3. It's looking like it's going to be Oscar Piastri. And no, it doesn't matter. Lando Norris is still ahead. Piastri is probably on the worst tires right now, the soft compound, which are probably very dead by now, as it's already been 7 laps. And here's a replay of Yuki Tsunoda falling down to P14 to Esteban Ocon in the Alpine. Disappointing stuff after climbing 4 positions at the start. And here's Carlos Sainz going in for his first stop for the 2 stoppers, which is going to be a very unlucky decision. And here's Daniel Ricciardo getting past Yuki Tsunoda, and Tsunoda not really defending there. What else can he do? I'm pretty sure Ricciardo. What kind of camera angle is this? Come on, Codemasters. I'm guessing Tsunoda didn't really try to put up a defense, but yeah, he dropped 6 places in 10 laps. And now into lap 10, you can see I've dropped way behind Hamilton, but it's my turn to box, so I am definitely going to be, hitting the wall on pit entrance there. And now it's time to switch to the soft compound tires. Hopefully this strategy will work. if this fails, it's not a Ferrari strategy. This is a me strategy. So yeah, hopefully it does. We're gonna have to have a really quick second stint here. First stint, not second stint, just so that we can come out with a huge enough gap to Lewis Hamilton to be comfortable in our second stop. As then we're going on the onboard of Alexander Albon, who's running in the points. He didn't score points at all in 2022. So yeah, now he's running in the points. Good stuff. He even scored a point in Saudi Arabia. Just as I was complimenting him, he spins in the middle of the road. You can see Nico Hülkenberg passing him by now. Same with Carlos Sainz. And this causes the safety car. And this immediately ruins my strategy, because Lewis Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc and Russell, they will now benefit from this. So the undercut was useless. Just brilliant stuff. Thanks, Albon. Yeah, thanks. Actually, I met you in real life. Yeah, this just ruins my strategy. First of all, I'm gonna have to get past them. So, I'm gonna have to get past them during the safety car if they end up ahead of me. And yeah, I'm just gonna lose even more time, as now our teammate Lewis Hamilton coming into the pits, switching over to the hard compound tires and just going into the pit lane, switching over to the hards. And there's a problem with the rear left, and now he's being held up because he has to wait for Leclerc to pass by, and Russell's double stacking, and Verstappen gets ahead of him. Brilliant stuff. And you can see now on my onboard, so Hamilton's net position right now is P3 unless I get ahead, and yes I do. So he's ending up in P4. He lost three positions in one pit stop. Wow, okay, Ferrari. And it's not really Ferrari, it's more of Leclerc and Russell messing it up for him. And now on their safety car restart, I'm going to give Leclerc, just nudging him a bit, just to put the pressure on for the restart. I'm pretty sure they banned going alongside another driver for the safety car restart. But it's not real life, as I'm alongside Leclerc right now, just trying to time the perfect start. And yes, right about now, perfect timing, getting to get on the throttle. I go for a massive dive on Max Verstappen. It works. Double overtake done. And here's Charles Leclerc giving him an opportunity to get into P2. Will it work? Not quite. Max Verstappen gets him on the exit. And yeah, I can see there in the background Gasly getting past Sergio Perez. What? As Norris and Russell are alongside each other. Who's going to get ahead of this battle? It's looking like it's going to be George Russell cutting across Lando Norris's line. And yes, he does. He gets up into P5. And Perez still down in P8. Ocon in P10. And just, yeah, going on my onboard for some reason. Yeah, we're way ahead of the field now. Looking up ahead into lap 17, Leclerc no longer in Verstappen's DRS range. That gives Lewis Hamilton a very easy overtake. And looking now down into Pierre Gasly's onboard, gets passed by Oscar Piastri. The Renault power unit is super weak. As yeah, looking now here, Kevin Magnussen and Yuki Tsunoda having a bit of a battle. Magnussen round the outside of Tsunoda on the hard tires, actually. So I'm guessing Tsunoda is going for a 2-stop. Well, same as me, actually. We're on the same strategy. It's just that he's in a much slower car. And who gets ahead of this battle? It's looking like it's Kevin Magnussen, as Nico Hülkenberg following closely behind to the end of the DRS zone. It doesn't look like he's going to make a move on Tsunoda. There's just not enough room. Great, so now we're going to skip ahead to, no, not me, but Esteban Ocon coming into the pits, because that's giving Zhou Guanyu the opportunity to score points. And here's Alexander Albon getting past Logan Sargent, the man who cost a safety car, now in the P15 after being last. That's a pretty decent recovery. I'm not sure if he broke a wing or not. I'm guessing he didn't. And now on lap number 19, it's my turn to come into the pits. As yeah, to the soft compound tires. I think we're gonna come out in P9 as George Russell is out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's a 2.3 second stop. So Russell's out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And if you look in the leaderboard, Ricciardo and Joe will be scoring points. So at least there's a positive to come out of a negative. And now going on, Daniel Ricciardo's on board and me exiting the pit lane. Who will come out ahead? And it's me just utilizing the inside line, sort of squeezing him out. And now further on in the lap, here's me on Zhou Guanyu on the hard compound tires. Zhou Guanyu putting up a pretty decent defense, but you can't overtake there anyways. But that's okay, we're going to be going on the longest straight of the calendar. And it's going to be a pretty straightforward move for me, as it's just a simple DRS overtake. We have the same power unit though, so we're probably going to be having the similar straight line speed. Not using the overtake, there's no need to. And DRS open right about now. You can see there, he actually has better straight line speed than me, or he's probably just using his battery. As yep, we get the move done into P8 on lap 21. So we have 5 laps to catch up to the front runners. That's actually doable, as we're catching up by a massive amount, and the hard tires are pretty dead as well. As now I have DRS on Pierre Gasly, and it should be a pretty straightforward move this one as well, as he's in an Alpine and I'm in a Ferrari. I find a massive opening down the inside. Ooh, a bit of contact is made. I took the deeper line, but that's alright. That's alright, we get ahead. That was quite clean. Now it's a section I had a crash with Verstappen last season. And now lap 23, trying to get ahead of Oscar Piastri in the McLaren, just closing in on his rear end there. You can see he just lost it. He just lost the rear slightly on the corner exit. As we go down the inside of the Australian, we're still side by side going into the chicane. He makes contact with my rear right tire, but it's all good as we successfully get ahead into P6. And here now on lap 23, here's Sergio Perez. Ooh, a bit wobbly there, getting past Lando Norris. Pretty disappointing. Oh, never mind. There's defending from Lando Norris, but pretty disappointing race from Perez. He should be fighting for a podium. But no, this will be the first race where he doesn't get a podium. And we get the switchback successfully done on Lando Norris, as he now sets sights on Sergio Perez. Norris will try to find the inside. It won't be enough. We hardly break a sweat trying to defend from Norris. And now it's time to set sights on Sergio Perez. He's just right ahead of us. He's actually going pretty slowly. He's going slow into the corner. I find an opportunity. I take it, slightly squeezing him into the wall, but it's done. We successfully get him into the chicane. And here's Lando Norris getting past Sergio Perez, going into the entrance of the castle section. Will he get fully ahead by the castle section? It's looking like it. But later on in the lap, Sergio Perez will complete a pretty textbook DRS overtake on Lando Norris. But that still shows some great fighting from the McLaren driver, who actually had a pretty good race, even though he's finishing P6. And now going on to my final push lap. I'm just going to use raw audio from this. I'm not going to voice over this lap, so you can enjoy the art of chasing down someone when you have better tires than them. Alright, so now we're going to be heading on to the final stretch of the race, the longest straight in the entire calendar. and it's on Charles Leclerc. We're only 2/10 behind. This should be a guarantee that we're going to get past him. We only have 6% battery left though. As you can see, his light is flashing, so that means he doesn't have any battery to defend as well. We have DRS open. We're alongside. We successfully get ahead of Leclerc while cutting across his line. It's P3, and it's actually disappointing. That should have been a win, or at the very least a 1-2.
Especially hard this weekend, and that, my friend, is a fantastic reward. Well done.
Here we are then, it's victory in Azerbaijan. Great work from the whole team here at the track and back at the factory as well. Some pretty handy driving for good measure. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
Well, that should have been a win considering we got pole position. We start on the front row. We took the lead at the start. I believe I would have won that if it wasn't for the safety car. But hey, Zhou Guanyu, Pierre Gasly, and Ricciardo score points. Nico Hülkenberg went last to 11th, 5 seconds away from the points. Oh my gosh, never mind. He should have got points out of Ricciardo, but that was an impressive drive, I guess. And yeah, we fall behind in the championship. Verstappen's now ahead of by 19 points, and Perez actually loses the lead, and Carlos drops to P11. That's not looking good for him, as he's 19 points behind his other teammate Fernando Alonso. So it's a pretty disappointing race, but yeah, it's still, at least it wasn't bad. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next video in the Miami Grand Prix. Oh my gosh, it's Miami. The worst track on the entire calendar.